Well, we are live in the present tense with Sam Stewart on 91.7 FM, WNJ Washington, and online at WNJR.org. We are on the air for our sole episode of the week. We didn't have an episode on Tuesday, but make sure you check out my YouTube page for the interview with Michael Zito, former closer here at WNJ. It was a really fun interview, and I'm so excited to be back on the air tonight. For my show tonight, we've got two of my favorite guys on campus, two of the nicest people I ever meet, and two members of your WNJ O-line. My first guest on the show tonight is a senior from Sharpsburg, PA. He's a starting guard for your President's O-line. Everyone welcome on the show tonight, Adam Kozera. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. Really excited to get to talk to you tonight. My second guest on the show returns for the third time to the present tense. He's also a guard for your Presidents. He's a three-time All-Pac player and a former All-American. Everyone welcome on the show tonight, Angelo Fratini. Angelo, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you back, man. And look, we've got a big week coming up this week. Your rivals, CMU, will be taking on the Presidents this week. Rivalry games are always fun to talk about, always fun to play in. So, Adam, I'll start with you. Look, the Presidents haven't beaten CMU since 2018. This is a long storied rivalry. First game was in 1906 when the Presidents dominated 39-0. What's the big keys this weekend for getting this rivalry back in the hands of the Presidents?
Me personally, I feel like after coming off of the loss against Grove City and then just having a rough patch with Allegheny, I feel like after having that bye week, it's going to be that. I feel like that was super helpful to help us get back into it and just be more prepared and let everyone heal up physically and mentally.
Mm-hmm. And for you, I know you said you played defensive line a little bit here when you started, and you know those guys on the defensive line really well. What does it mean to have those guys like Dawson Dietz, and others on the defense back at full strength?
Honestly, like seeing how powerful like Dawson was and all of them whenever they first came in, it was nice seeing what we were going to be expecting to have in the future and how much more helpful it was going to be for us.
Mm-hmm. Now, Angelo, I've had you a lot of times on this show, and we've talked about, a variety of topics, but one thing that we've always talked about is the way that you've tried to lead people. And so what kind of mindset did you want to convey over the bye week? Because it's been an interesting 2 weeks, tough Grove City game. And look, everyone's been talking on the broadcast. From this point, it's going to take possibly a selection bid or 2 Grove City losses. What was the mindset after that Grove City loss and after a tough second half versus Allegheny moving into this week? How have you been trying to motivate the guys?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to lose ever, and that's hard to motivate back from. And, at halftime of Allegheny, I felt like we were finally breaking out of that a little bit and just got caught in a funk. Sometimes it happens, feels like nothing you can do is ever good enough and nothing's going your way. But one thing, one of the coaches, talked to me after Allegheny. Sometimes you just have to win ugly. I told the team they never ask how, they ask how many. So,
good quote.
Yeah. So you just have to learn how to win. And they're not all by an inch or a mile. So. One thing I was trying to convey in the start of the bye week, so, the week we didn't have a game, we only practiced 3 days, and I was just trying to get the guys back just to having fun, and it's a little bit, stealing from what Coach Gironi told us after Allegheny, kind of like our personalities were hidden a little bit. We were stressing too much. Like, this is a game, it is supposed to be fun, and we did win, so let's act like it. Let's go out, let's celebrate, let's have a good time with everybody. It is homecoming, act like it, because and I'm not trying to put anyone down, but you could be worse. You could be at some of these other schools that are 0-5 or, have gone 4 years without a win. You come to WJ to have a shot at the PAC title. We come to WJ because we win a lot of football games. So just get back on that roll, have fun, and let's do what we do and play a little bit more loose and have more fun doing so.
And I think one thing that I've talked about on pretty much every football show this year is I interviewed Coach Sirianni on season 4 of the Present Tense. It was really fun, but he opens the interview by saying, "So, Coach, 9-3, what's the mindset?" He goes, first of all, like, I don't really even get to finish my sentence. He goes, "I'm sorry, 9-3, that's on me." And he just has such a high expectation. I admire that so much, but I imagine at times like that expectation can be tough to play with because this is WNJ. So, Adam, for you, when you play under a coach like Sirianni, how does his high expectation and his kind of legend around the state of Pennsylvania, how is that a thing that's affected you here?
Well, honestly, like coming from Central, like I was used to like the standard being pretty high, but I feel like Sirianni brings it to the next level because he tells you he expects more from you. Even whenever you're at the standard, he wants you to go above and beyond that. And honestly, I appreciate it because at times whenever I make a mistake, like he'll yell at me, but it's all just to improve.
Now, for both of you guys, you don't want to answer this question. So, 0 points in the second half for Allegheny. This is really rare for this President's team. They've outscored opponents this year 256 to 83. So, either one of you guys can take this question, but what were the biggest things that you guys tried to make adjustments on this week after that second half for Allegheny? Because you guys are a high-powered offense, and like you said, it was just not quite going right for you. So, what's the kind of game plan on offense going into this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare Allegheny and CMU, but going into halftime at Allegheny, we were making some adjustments. Not too much from what I could tell, because obviously we were up by 4 scores and what we were doing was working. I just noticed this week we're getting a little bit more back to basics and just playing our brand of football. Not to give anything away, but basically what we saw earlier in the season, pre-Grove City, just get back to that swaggerness and cockiness. We're going to hit JP, we're going to run the ball, we're going to get Jake Pugh involved. So all 3 assets of our 3 sides of our offense, we're going to get back to moving again. And I think that was like a big emphasis in this bye week is to get back on track. And I don't think there's a better game to do it than this week.
Now, Angelo, this is your last year here at WJ, your 5th year. So you guys played 2 rivals who you lost to last year, and you've had some great games against these teams. It's been a great rivalry. So what would it mean to go out against CMU, who you actually haven't beaten, like I said, since 2018, and then Case Western, who the Presidents lost last year? 2 big rivalry wins. What would it mean to get these 2 dubs in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it would be really great. I definitely feel like I owe CMU one. I have not beaten them. It's always been close since my freshman year. And Case Western, I lost to them my freshman year too, and that's kind of been a back and forth. So it would definitely be good to get up on them again too next week. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this next 2 weeks. As we get into like the tougher part of our season.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And one thing I want to talk about, we have had Jake Pugh on the show a couple of times, and Adam, I saw you were posting some pictures with you and Jake. You wish him a happy birthday and stuff. You wish you a happy birthday. So for him, what has it been like having that kind of leader behind you? We talked about it. You heard him on the sidelines last year, getting on everyone right when he got in. For you, what does that mean to play in front of a quarterback like Jake Pugh, who's full contact? He's going to take a hit. He's full heart. What does that mean to you?
I mean, everywhere you see it, the quarterback's the leader, but having someone like Pugh behind me who's not afraid to take a hit, who's not afraid to get down and dirty with someone, just means a lot. Like, he's not scared to yell at his offensive line whenever they're not doing something right, or even the wide receivers when they run the wrong route. He's disciplined, and he'll tell us to get our stuff together.
Now, for you, when Jake Pugh gets in the line's face and he's telling them what to do because he is so competitive, how do you take that as a lineman?
Honestly, I appreciate it. We need that because there are times where we aren't keeping each other accountable. So whenever he is yelling at us, whenever coach doesn't have a chance, it just feels the same. Like, we're out there to protect him, make sure he gets his passes, make sure he hands the ball off. So if he's yelling at us, clearly we need to do something better.
Now, it's awesome that you guys trust him in that way and he trusts you in that way, I know. And so one thing I've always noticed is if there's ever kind of a scuffle with a quarterback or a late hit on the quarterback, you're right there. So for you, you've played under a lot of quarterbacks. What does it mean if someone is your quarterback? What are you going to do to protect them? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? If that question makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's your little brother. You know, I love Jake too, but he's the O-line's little brother. You got to look after him, and yeah, like speaking like what you're saying, he's not afraid to go out and get hit, and you know, it like you wince every time you see it. And you're like, Jake, what are you doing? And just slide. Like, we'll make up the yards on the next play. I promise.
He used to play baseball too, so.
And earlier this season, he tried to get in. I thought he got in on the goal line, and he kind of just like stood there, and they tackled him. This guy came in and tried ripping the ball out, and he's pulling on his shoulder, and I grabbed him and I ripped him off of Jake, and I'm up in his face, and the refs, 7-8, you gotta relax. I said, it's my quarterback. I said, no one's touching him. And, you know, and obviously, as most people know who watch anything, presidents, I'm not afraid to show my emotions on the field a little bit. But yeah, no, like I said, that's my little brother. Nobody gets to touch him.
No, that's awesome.
If I can help it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a really awesome answer. And you know, kind of just I feel like we do hear sometimes radio shows like this talk to the JPs, the number one wide receivers of the world, the quarterbacks. But I think a lot of people just kind of want to know about the line just from a mentality and X's and O's perspective. So you said, Angelo, the offense has evolved a lot since you got here. There's a lot of triple option now. You know, Terry and I talked about the press conference. He said the Eagles took it from us, not the Eagles, other way around. And JP is really good at running that triple option. So for you guys, and you know, Adam, I'll start with you first, but you can both comment on it. What has it been like playing in a triple option system like we see in the NFL now?
Honestly, like whatever works, it works. Like, it's helping us, so we might as well stick to it. Like whenever I first got here, like I was still learning everything, so I didn't know what was what. But like as I started like catching on, I realized like what needed to be done, and that's exactly what happened.
So for you, Adam, had you run the triple option in high school at all?
No.
So is it difficult, would you say, on any given play when you don't know if the ball is being run past or even who it's being run by?
Yeah, at times, just because like if I'm trying to make a block downfield and the ball's throwing and I see all the linebackers taking off, then I know I made a mistake and I know I'm going to see that yellow flag get thrown.
And we were talking about that on JP and Jake's show. Just that rule change that came in 2007 with the yards up. And Angelo, you've said that you guys kind of talk about that as a team. You've talked about it with the refs, how to adapt to the triple option. So, as, you know, the captain is the leader of this offensive line. What's like the keys you tell your offensive linemen in this type of scheme for not picking up those flags, or is it just kind of inevitable?
Yeah, I mean, when you run it as much as we do, it to a certain degree, it's inevitable. Like I said, you know, I think we're good for 1-2 a game, and you know, when they come, they come. Sometimes it happens to be when we're up a little bit. You know, it might be somewhat of a makeup call, but you know, I tell the guys all the time, if we don't block, if we don't do our responsibility, and the ball gets handed off, then we have a bigger problem than the 5-yard penalty. So, you know, it's just one of those things. We have certain calls that will tell us not to go downfield, but if that's not called, you gotta block it like it's a run until it's not. You know, because Sirianni has made a big emphasis on us, you know, seeing like when the backers drop out, try to drop back or try to get down low and, you know, hide a little bit. It's hard for the offensive line.
Yeah, some big boys down there. It's hard to hide.
Yeah. But try to get back before the ref calls. I think you're just drawing more attention to yourself, you know, if you're backpedaling, but
It's worked for me.
yeah, I mean, no, but it's definitely hard, and it's like one of those things you just got to toe the line.
Yeah, I got you. You see Adam going to hit the deck this next week. He's going to dive on the ground, try and hide.
I usually do a quick back pedal.
Okay.
Just hope for the best. Hopefully they see that I'm not trying to be downfield.
There you go. Now, let's talk tush push, fellas. Brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. It's the big talk right now. The NFL owners are talking about it because it's actually being talked about being banned in the NFL. We're obviously going to get to our NFL segment later, but I actually saw you guys have run this play a couple times. And not to reveal anything about your offense, but Do you guys like this play, whether it's specific to you or general? Do you guys like running it? Do you like seeing it in the NFL? As linemen, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I call for it all the time. I'm not gonna say, I don't say run the tush push, but when it's 4th and 1, every lineman loves that. Who's gonna get it? And I don't know if you remember last year, we played Allegheny for homecoming. I think we ran that play probably like 8 times. And all 8 were touchdowns. They were all on like the 1 yard line. It was 8 or touchdowns or first downs. It was a really successful play. When you have an offensive line as big and strong like ours, you just want to get to work and for a yard, 2 yards, line it up and run it. Now, obviously, you're putting your quarterback at pretty good risk because it's a lot of weight and a lot of bodies moving around and jumping on each other. So I can understand the injury risk factor. As far as getting it banned, everybody says it's not you can't stop it. Well, Monday night I was watching the Dallas Cowboys and the Chargers, and the Chargers stopped it. Don't say you can't stop it. You can't stop Philly because Philly has the best offensive line in the league.
Right. No, and they actually have a 95% conversion rate on 3rd and 4th downs. If they didn't get a yard.
Yeah. So who's going to stop Jason Kelsey, Malott? Who's going to
Lane Johnson?
Yeah, Dickerson. Those are big. That's one of the best offensive lines out there. Who's going to stop them?
Right. And Kelsey's so good. He gets low and really just kind of dives forward and knocks the guy back.
They want to ban a play because no one can stop it.
Right. Now the injury concern, because I know the Giants tried it a couple weeks ago, and it is a lot of. Because we know the league wants to protect quarterbacks, so I'm sure they're going to look at the data from this play just because you look at stuff like the roughing the passer rule, like that's dramatically changed. What? Wait, why'd you roll your eyes? They're making this league softer than it needs to be, and you can see it examples every week. Like Josh Allen got hit and he flopped, not flopped, but like he got hit. Well, it's kind of he extended his arm into his face a little bit.
I understand that, but this is football,
right?
Like. He gets paid millions of dollars to play it, so I'm not going to feel bad when he gets hit. I don't know.
Okay, but you guys love the contact. So what is it about, and Adam, I'll go to you, what is it about like those 4th and 1s, those 4th and 3s, where the run's coming, it's a run heavy situation, you got all the big bodies in there, or, another example, you guys go to the shotgun with Cernuto a lot. Do you just love, why do linemen love that moment? Why do linemen want the runs in those situations?
I feel like for me personally, like whenever it comes down to like 4th and 1, 4th and short, like some of your technique just goes away and you just got to put your whole force into someone else's body and being able to just get all of that out.
I see you smiling, you love that.
Yes. Especially the tush push, like just you throw away all technique, you just throw your head into each other, and we always move them, and just being able to like push them back and feel us in the end zone is a great feeling. And with us, like whenever we do run the inside zone, whenever we finally get a chance to, like being able to just throw all of our weight into them, nothing feels better.
Really, that's awesome. And we always like to talk about personal stuff here, and I want to start with something in your story tonight, Adam. We talked about this last year. I said, you're going to come on, we're going to talk about this. You actually had a really devastating ankle injury. You wheeled around this little kind of scooter thing for a long time.
I have crutches.
Yeah. And, it sometimes seems like you're having fun with it, but I know you kept a really positive, upbeat attitude, but tell us about that story a little bit last year and how that's affected you this offseason moving into this year.
I would say the part that affected me most was all throughout high school I rode bench. Like I hardly played a down of football, and like whenever I got here, like being able to finally start like at the start of the season, and then week 2 that happens, like I really just didn't know how to feel. Like it took me a couple weeks to like get through it, like get back into the groove of things as much as I could. But honestly, like having the teammates, and like Amanda said, whenever she was on the podcast, she reached out to me, told me about her injury. Angelo talked to me about his, and just having everyone text me like the night before surgery just helped like boost my morale that much more. And like surgery, Angelo told me, like, it's up from there. Like, this is where recovery starts, and I know you'll be back next year.
Wow, that's awesome. And in the rehab process, what do you feel like you learned about yourself as a person?
Just keep pushing. It has a lot to do with one of my favorite quotes, which I'm assuming we'll get to.
Oh, we'll save it, yeah.
But just like seeing like how quick and how much stronger I came back was actually very surprising to me, because I've never experienced an injury that bad before. I've had like a sprained MCL, a sprained AC joint, broken nose, you name it.
I mean, that all sounds pretty bad, but
Yeah. Rugby, so.
Wait, you played rugby?
Yeah.
No kidding. Not gonna lie. So was it rugby league or rugby union?
It was like a club sport.
Okay, so you guys play where you had like scrums and stuff.
Yeah.
So in Australia they play a little bit of a different version called rugby league, where it's more like football, you get 6 down. But we'll have to talk about that, maybe some other time, because when I went to Australia, I love rugby. But
I played 15s because I'm a bigger guy.
15s.
7s is for the skinny.
Yeah,
guys.
7s. Yeah, in a rugby union 15s, that's just a lot of pushing. I can see how you like that. It's a lot of pushing. But wow, that's awesome. But wow, no. So, Angelo, I want to ask you, what is it like having a guy like Adam who has come back for this injury, a guy who's a rock on the line, and he's been through so much? When you saw him show up this year at camp, what was going through your head when you saw him new and improved?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And, I've been there with my ACL. It was devastating in St. Vincent when that happened, because I know how hard he's worked. And we talked before the start of that season. We opened with John Carroll, and I just remember how nervous he was, for the first start. And even then, I was somewhat of a veteran, and I told him, like, listen, man, it just gets easier from here on out. And it was definitely devastating to see that happen to him. And sometimes bad things just happen. It's the game we love, and I don't think anybody's saying they're going to be done playing it, because they know how good the game is. But to have him come back this year, and really even in the spring, I remember like early January, I remember when me and him would work out, and seeing him, how strong he was. He came back right away, and his strength just in a few weeks of lifting. And then as we moved into more like speed workouts and running and stuff, and seeing it, like how he could progress, and getting treatment together and everything. And then spring ball comes around, and seeing that he's probably going to be the starting left guard, and he's in a good position to do so. That he definitely earned it. And then coming into camp and having, we weren't too sure with our tackles, but the interior 3 with me, him, and Grant, I mean, it's 275 easily at each person, and 6'2", 6'1" across the board. It's definitely one of the bigger interior offensive lines I've had. Now that we have Staub and Nicotra at tackles at our bookends, our 6'4" guys. This is definitely one of the biggest offensive lines I've played on, at college. And it's definitely one of the biggest lines, in D3, like around, because you don't usually get that size in D3. And just to have Adam back, it added to him, definitely, it's huge.
That's awesome. And Angelo, for you, it was homecoming versus Allegheny. And we were talking here, it's like you knew guys who no one even knows here. Me and Adam don't know them since you're a 5th year. So for you, what is the experience like working with these young guys? Because here's the thing, we had Mike Dungy on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about working with you. Like, when you look back and you think about all the different linemen you've played with, all the different receiver combos, quarterbacks, but especially linemen, what does it feel like to know you've worked with all these different guys and working with guys who are a lot younger than you?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. And to think about it, I wasn't even thinking about this because of your show. It was homecoming that made me think of this. This will be year 8. There's been 2 right guards at W&J. In 8 years, there's been 2 right guards. So before me, it was Andrew Rio, was a preseason All-American, All-Pac guy. He was good. I'm almost certain he started for 3 years before me, and then I started for 5. This will be my 5th year starting. So that just goes to show the level of, kind of like excellence that W&J attracts, the types of players we bring in. And speaking of that, 2 centers. I played next to a bunch of centers, but 2 starting centers in 8 years. Connor Walsh before Grant, and Eddie and Dante when Dante started. That was my 4th tackle. So I played next to Keaton Turney when I was a freshman, and then it was Tyler Kerrigan, and he stuck it out. And then after he graduated, Eddie and Dante. So it's crazy, and those are just the guys that started. Not to mention all the guys I've worked with and that have come and gone, transferred, and it's no ill will. Like I still keep up with a lot of them, and it is crazy to come back and see like that guy's graduated 4 years ago that I played with, and I'm like, wow, like one day that's gonna be me. Like when I come back and see some of the younger guys like Mason and Ryan Lane and Jamar, these freshmen O-linemen, like I'm gonna come back and they're gonna be like, this guy was old when I was like, come on, man, where's your family? Like, it's wild. It's definitely wild.
And for Adam, what has it been like for you working with Angelo, both not only because he did have that injury that was similar to yours, but having someone who has started for so much of his career, has had the accolades that he's had, sort of a field general, the trust of Christiani. What is it like having him on the line? Because I see him talking to you guys a lot on the sideline.
So it was Christmas break of my freshman year during all that COVID stuff. So It was just freshmen on campus. We had a mutual friend, and we were there just hanging out, and that was the first time I met him. And we were just talking, and he was telling me, like, Coach Sirianni expected a lot from me coming in, and I was like, well, that's nice knowing as a freshman, but I got to put in more work. And just being able to, like, trust him with any issue I had. He's always been there to, like, help. With him being so old, he was able to help me with, like, plays. Experience.
I'm only 23. Come on.
Angelo, I'm not going to lie, though, bro. I remember us sitting and talking one time at lunch. I think I was sitting with us, and you came over, and I was like, dude, you look like you're a 5th-year-old. Dude, your beard, dude, was like, you had like a full beard. It's like a freshman, dude. Like,
no, but him just being there and helping me with my plays, he told me I'm dumb because I didn't know my plays my freshman and sophomore year. He was like, that's what you need to start. So that whole spring ball and that summer going into my junior year, I was just in the playbook, learning, watching every game, seeing where I can improve at, seeing what steps I need to take. And with him being experienced, he was able to, like, push me, and he had his own knowledge to put into me, which I'm hoping to help out with the underclassmen next year.
Wow, that's an awesome answer. And obviously you're coming back for your 5th year. And one question, as I've gotten older in my journey here, more experienced, the way I've kind of wanted to ask this question is, how do you feel like this 4-year journey, this 4-year experience has changed you as a person, as a whole? Angelo, you started pre-COVID, we started during COVID, so we've all experienced that, the highs and lows of a program that has done so well, but had some tough defeats, had to bounce back, won some big bowl games, all of that. What's the biggest ways that this experience has changed you as a person? Angelo, I'll start with you.
Yeah, 4 years is a little short. 4.5.
I even wrote down 4/5.
I'll give you 4.5. No, but it's funny because, like, Coach Sirianni and like even some people were like, yeah, all you younger guys, you didn't know Jake Adams, quarterback in 2019, and then he'll be like, oh wait, I guess Angelo did know. I'm like, yeah, well, I played with him for 11 games. I know him, and like he'll how much I've grown as a person, and I can really tell it is shocking, and obviously that's what you're supposed to do at college. You're supposed to grow up and become a man or a woman in your prospective journey. But it is wild to see. Like, I've seen people come and I've seen people go, and like Adam's like, it's like almost like the cycle's going to continue. I'm putting my knowledge into these freshmen next year, and in 4 years, who knows where they're going to be. You might have the next, all-Pac, all-American guard after I'm gone, and the cycle continues. So that's what I'm hoping on, and I just hope that we can keep a level of success, and grow on. Obviously, we haven't won the pack in a couple years here, and when I first committed to WJ, I thought I was going to have 4, and I ended up having 1, and it's not looking likely, but I came here to win a lot of football games, and that's what I've done, and by no means am I upset. No means am I regretting my decision. Obviously, I'm upset that we lose, but look around the pack. Some schools are lucky to get break 500 or even get 2 or 3 wins. So I'm very happy with my decision, and I'm glad to be at such a successful college.
Right, and I know you say that, but I mean, there's still by the numbers is a chance, but also the NCAA playoffs. There's 4 selection teams this year. I wish. I wasn't trying to tell the JRM guys how to do their job, but I was trying to inform them before. They still have a lot to play for the next couple of weeks, and they're talking about the grocery loss a lot. But the thing is, the committee needs to see the wins after, and you guys got it done last week and 2 big chances this week. So
yeah, no doubt. Because obviously you don't ever want to say there's nothing to play for, but that's totally untrue.
Right.
Even if the board doesn't roll in our favor and we get an ECAC bowl game, that means just as much to me as anything else. Okay. I will play, and a lot of the guys on the team agree with me in this. If you give us 1 game to play, if you give us 1/2 of a football game to play, we're going to play it. I don't care if we get a drive to California to play it.
Really? Awesome.
I mean, that's the kind of dedication we have on this team, and that's just the kind of guys we are.
No, wow, that's awesome. And Adam, for you, how do you feel like this 4 or 5 year journey has affected you?
Kind of going off of what Angelo said, like the whole growing up aspect. Like all throughout high school, I had the same childhood friend that I'd hang out with, but like getting here, making all these new friends and brothers, in my opinion, just nothing compares to it, because you're out on your own, away from home, just living with your best friends. And that's one of my favorite experiences of college, is just living with my best friends. Anytime anyone has asked me, that's the answer I give, because it's true. Like, you don't got to worry about someone telling you what to do unless you're playing sports. Even professors, they don't really tell you what to do because it's all on you, which is a good learning experience for a lot of people, because throughout their lives, like, they've been told what to do, and I feel like you shouldn't have to in order to get stuff done.
That's something I think about now, moving to this next chapter of my life. Like, it's like, I feel like me for college, I still do have that structure, but it's like the world's wide open, after you graduate. And I think dealing with that, is a real interesting thing. And I didn't even have this necessarily written down tonight. I was going to see where we went, but Angelo, you just bring up that point about wanting to drive to California and play a quarter of football. And, and Angelo, last year you bringing up that point with, I remember you were saying like the process of how much you love camp and the early mornings and all of that stuff, and that's always what I really respect you for, just your love for the process. And with that said, why do you think people love sports? You love sports about as much as anyone I've ever met. And one particular sport, but sports in general. Why do you feel like people love them so much? Because to me, it's if I may speak, it's like, to me, like, sports is what you live for. Like, you just are so in love with football. Like, why do people get drawn to sports in this way?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because now that I can see the end of the tunnel, I'm on my way out. It's getting a little hard, but I know I'm gonna have a lot of adventures in my adult life. I have a job, I got my family, and I got a girlfriend now. Surprisingly, I don't know how that ever worked out, but I love sports so much because it's a way. Growing up, it was a way to get with my friends and connect, and then just the world disappears when you're out on that field. Nothing matters. You don't remember about the quiz you got on Monday, or finals are coming up. It's just you and some of your best friends out there playing ball, trying to succeed and trying to beat other people. And nothing brings together people more than like an attack on them. And I'm not saying I have all these enemies out there. I'm just saying.
No, I definitely know what you mean.
When someone's trying to beat you, that's when it brings you together. So I think sports brings people together, and I mean even like I know we're Division III and we don't have that many fans, but like I meet people and they're like, oh, I listen, I watch the games now that they're on TV, and it's like. That's wow. That's like they don't miss a game, a W&J game. Like I understand it about like, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pirates and the Pens and all those. I understand how that brings people together, but like even like small sports and like if you went to if high school football is like big in your hometown, like how it can bring together a community to rally around a group of people, and that is something special.
Wow, that's a really special answer. Thank you for sharing that. And Adam, I want to ask you the same question.
In my opinion, just like it's where everyone's able to see where they can succeed and what they're good at. Like I know growing up, I tried playing baseball and I couldn't even hit the ball off the tee. So I knew baseball wasn't the move for me. But like my dad started coaching Gaisuda, which is like a pee-wee football team in the Fox Chapel area, and he got me to start playing. And as like I was going through it, I realized like this isn't so bad. I actually really enjoy this because whenever I'm mad about something, I can just go to practice and hit something. But I feel like sports are where everyone's able to find themselves, whether it's a physical sport or even like a mental sport. They'll just be able to find out what they're good at and hopefully succeed in it one way or another. Even if it's just a hobby, they still like get to be themselves in that moment.
Right. And I think I'll take your answers one step further. It provides that challenge that people, because I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're challenged, whether it's a sport, a class. I don't know if you're like, wow, this class is hard, but then you get through it and you're like, all right, I'm a little bit smarter than I thought, It's a process of figuring out who you are, and I think that comes from challenge. Sports provide people that challenge. And before I kind of say any more thoughts about this, Angelo, I want to ask you this question: what are the things you're looking forward to in the next chapter of life? I know you got to go. You went to Italy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a great international experience for all you guys, but I'm sure you're gonna want to do more things like that. Like, what other things are you really looking forward to in this next chapter of your life?
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I've been thinking about this.
I know it's hard for you, No,
it definitely it is, and it isn't. Like I know the simple things. Like I want to have a family. I want to build a house. I want to do that type of stuff. I want to get closer with my family than I already am. I want to go see some of the United States, like out west. I want to see the mountains and all that. But I want to find something that can fill the void that I'm going to have with no more football in my life. All the coaches I've ever had have all preached it. You can play basketball. You can go play competitive basketball. You can join an adult league. You can play golf until you're 80. You can play darts. You can bowl. You can go play fast pitch or slow pitch softball. I mean, there's all kinds of sports out there to play. You'll never get a chance to play competitive football, meaningful competitive football again after, a lot of kids, it's after high school. Luckily for us, it's after college. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens. I got a job that's in sales, not right out the bat, but it's a stepping stone into it, being a salesman. And the people that hired me, the guy that hired me actually played a little bit of professional baseball in the majors.
Oh wow!
And he told me, when he first got hired, and then he worked his way up into the hiring role, they look for athletes.
Wow.
Because in sales, it's a competitive, you have to have a competitive nature to it. And so I'm looking forward to finding things that are going to keep my competitive aspect alive. And I'm not saying I'm not going to golf or anything, but I'll probably pick up another hobby sport. But there's nothing that I don't know what's going to fill it like football.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to finding out.
And I think one thing that you said some things that Adam said. One, you mentioned Amanda earlier. A lot of things she said in the little fun podcast we did in the pool was, I think sports does provide that family, that space to be yourself, to find yourself. I think, I've never really directly addressed this on here. I think, I don't want to say names on here, but like, I see some people who come back over the years, whether it's, my first year, the alumni I really was close with, like, and, you see those people struggling to find social circles a little bit. And I think that as athletes, we get that social circle. So I think it's important for everyone. We're social creatures as human beings. And I think everyone needs to find that social circle where they can bond with people that have similar interests. Like sports, it's pretty easy. If you're on a football team with someone, they're going to love football for the most part. Baseball, same thing. It's like, you got to find something that you can be competitive and something that you can find friends with. So like for me, I am a little bit nervous about that because I found a great social circle here. Very supportive, amazing people I've met. But then I'm like, am I just going to go live and just do my job? But I think that I'm looking forward to making new connections just because, I am a pretty social person and you guys are too. And like, I don't know, I think that's something I'm looking forward to in the next chapter of my life. But it is difficult for athletes because we've done something for so long. It's like, how do we fill the void? But I think there is stuff out there for everyone. They can find something to bring that social kind of aspect of it, the competitive aspect of it, and bring it together, if that makes sense.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
What
about what it is? No, I'm just saying what it is it's different for everybody.
That's very true. Because I think some people, I'm gonna have to think on that. I think it is true. But I know some like even former like NFL, NBA players like struggle once they leave it because it is just it's like I guess I can say this: competitiveness is like a drug. I mean, to me, it's like it's addictive. I mean, you guys said you'd go to California, I'll go out to the baseball field just pitch one inning, and that's not even something that's rare out there. It's like sit out there for 16 just to get a chance to compete for. You guys have been out there at our games. You've seen how long the days are. It's like 6-7 hours. One guy gets in. You know what I mean? But it's like for you guys doing all those practices and you guys play like 8-9 times in a year, 10 like. It's that competitiveness. I think you have to find that in other spots, whether it's like golf or sales or that's really cool. And Adam, what about you? What do you feel like you're looking forward to most in that next chapter? You are coming back next year, but
honestly, with me coming back next year, I haven't like truly put too much thought into it as much as I should. But like you were saying, like competitiveness is addictive, and like you're always gonna see that, like whether you have a desk job or you're outside working, like there's always going to be competitiveness to be team leader or even like a trainer or even like CEO. Like you're always going to be competing against that person in front of you, which a lot of people have to do in sports. Like, and I think that's why I love it so much is because it's preparing me to compete throughout the rest of my life, just hoping for that next spot in, being the next one in anytime.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like Angelo said, just that competitiveness can be something as simple as like golf or like I know that a lot of people are into like pickleball now, and I see Angelo. I'm a big pickup basketball. I don't know if you still play pickup basketball much anymore. I used to see you play
not too much in the season,
right? But during the spring, like just things like that, just because sports do bring people together. So whether it's something kind of silly like even like pickleball or ping pong or something, competitive pickup basketball league, I think it's a good way to bring you closer to other people,
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Well, guys, thank you so much for those answers. I just kind of a fun question to ask. Do you feel like the offensive line with the beards, it makes you more intimidating as offensive line? Because Kelsey has a great beard, you know what I mean? Because Adam, you didn't have one when you got here.
So I always kept like a goatee, like a cleaner look, and whenever I came in my junior year, I had it growing in. It was looking somewhat thick, and then the week of St. Vincent, I shaved it into a goatee.
Oh, that was the mistake.
Ever since then, I've been superstitious. So the last time I shaved was probably like, I want to say July.
Oh wow!
And the only thing I'll do is like clean it up. I'm not taking down the sides or anything.
Dude, you're getting the handlebar going a little bit.
I'm not touching it until after football season because
there you go.
I'm too superstitious now. So it just looks meaner with a bunch of O-linemen with beards, even though only 2 of us have them.
Grant has
He has the scruff.
He has the pencil.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Chin strap.
I had class with Connor Walsh. He had a nice beard going for him. Yeah, he seemed like. I wish I would have got to. That's the thing with COVID, man. It's like I did get to meet y'all, but like it took me a while to even meet Adam. Angelo, I met you pretty early. Angelo's pretty outgoing. He told me multiple times, you got to get me on that podcast. But yeah, I think
I got approached doing laundry.
What? Yeah. No, I was like, hey, why don't you go on a podcast? So, but COVID's made things interesting. But it's definitely been a heck of a journey for sure. And guys, thank you for this segment. Of course, now it's time for trivia here on the present tense. So I've got a couple of really interesting ones tonight. So let's see if you can nail these. We are going to head to break in just a second. So how it works, Adam, is we are going to read the trivia questions. You've got approximately 3 or so minutes or so, and then we will dive into some music and come back and answer the questions. So I've got Come and Get Your Love by Redbone, feeling some Guardians of the Galaxy tonight. Now, trivia questions for tonight. It's an interesting one. Which NFL team is the only one to have a logo on one side of the helmet? And the second question, what is the oldest NFL franchise that has stayed in the same location during their entire tenure as a franchise? We'll get your answers after the break. This is The Present Tense with Sam Stewart, 91.7 FM, WNJ Washington, and online at WNJR. Yeah, we're clear.
Shit.
These are like,
You don't know?
I don't know the second one. I think I got an idea for the first one.
Who are you thinking for first? Wait, are we allowed to?
Yeah, you talk, yeah. Go. Some people like to kind of have a game against each other, but I figured you guys want to work together. A lot of people like to work together.
I know the Browns don't have any. I don't watch too much, like,
I'm thinking it's the Steelers and the Packers.
I think it's the Steelers, because I've definitely seen, like, a couple of Packers, like, playing Madden.
The Steelers have one sided,
Yeah.
and the Packers have been in the same spot. They're the longest in the same spot. I'm almost certain. I don't know.
This is the problem. People like to say it, right? And it's funny.
I do believe it's the Steelers with one side.
I'll let you answer that one.
I'm going to have to leave the second one up to you.
Okay.
I have no clue.
How long is the break?
About 3 minutes.
Okay,
We won't
so
get through this.
2:20.
Yeah, 2:20.
I'm going to fill my water.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time. I can slow it down too if you need to go to the bathroom or something.
I remember I had the beard. I had the beard my senior year of high school, and going on all my recruiting visits, like all these kids are like looking at me, and then every now and then you'd run into the O lineman, and he'd have a beard, and you'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just normal to us.
Let's just show how full yours was.
Yeah, I've been growing mine out since picture day. I trimmed it the morning of picture day. It's just something I did last year and a couple years before. Just let it grow during the season.
Nice.
Kind of just get tired of maintaining it. It doesn't take much. I clean up around the edges and stuff if I have to look somewhat presentable. But I remember in spring ball, I'm sitting there. All right, there was this mom and her son sitting there on like a recruiting visit, and like I come like off the field and I'm dripping, and I had it pretty thick in the spring too. And I take my helmet off, and they're just like staring at me, and they're like, "Who is this guy? He looks like he's 30." And I was just like, "Oh, I'm 22. I'm about to be 23, though. Sorry."
That's funny. A lot of people have told me that they thought I was a coach. I don't know. I don't know. It's because I have a little bit of a beard or whatever, but
it's fine. That happened to me too. When I came back from COVID in the spring. I wasn't here for that fall semester, and all the freshmen that came in there, and like I'm in cons, I'm just sitting there eating, and I was by myself. Like, obviously I'm wearing W&J football gear, and they're all like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm Aaron. Nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Angelo," and they're like, "Can we call you that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, we thought you were a coach," and I was like, "No."
That's funny.
And then I had people coming out. They want to know who the new coach is. I'm like,
that's
come
so
on.
funny.
I'm not a coach.
No, man, it's a thing I've thought about a lot. That idea of like after college, like sports, because I haven't, I haven't even played. I mean, nowhere near as much as you. I haven't really played, but it still just gives you that every day.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I have friends that remind me that football's not my whole entire life, but it felt like for the longest time it is. Like I've made a lot of decisions around football. I've made the decision to come here around football. I've made the decision to try and rebuild my knee based off of football. There's a lot. It's consumed most of my life so far.
Yeah. Let's go and dive back into it. 16 seconds. We are back in the present tense with Sam Stewart on 91.7 FM and WNJ Washington online at WNJR.org. So today we're talking with Adam Kozera and Angelo Fratini from the WNJ football squad. Before the break, we asked them the two trivia questions tonight. Which NFL team is the only one to have a logo on one side? The answer is?
I'm going to say the Steelers.
That's correct. Steelers, the only team to have one logo on the... I thought someone might go for the Browns, but they actually have no logo. Very interesting, this kind of fact. And there's like a whole history behind it as well, with some of the color schemes, how they wanted to try out new helmets and stuff. What is the oldest NFL franchise in the league that's in the same location?
I conferred with my partner here, and he wasn't much help, but I'm gonna go with Green Bay up in Wisconsin.
That's correct. It's the Packers' first franchise. 1919 they're formed. They joined the NFL in 19.
I know they're like in the middle of a town, like not even like a city, but like a town.
Right.
Green Bay, Wisconsin's not like Buffalo or Pittsburgh or Los Angeles. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that is really.
What's the 30 for 30 on it? I think that's how I do that.
I'll have to check that out. It's interesting because WJ is played football longer than the Packers. They've been around since 1896. So I mean, it's very interesting history. My grandma texted me this weekend. She goes, W&J beat West Virginia back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Roseville. Very storied tradition here at W&J. And speaking of NFL franchises, let's go ahead and talk about some stuff from this weekend. So right off the bat, let's talk about it. More surprising loss to an undefeated team. Of course, there's no undefeated teams left. 49ers or Eagles?
Oh, I thought the 49ers, the couple of calls there towards the end of the game put the Browns in a position to win. There was the hit on the defenseless receiver that really was insane, and even the Dean Blandino, he was on there and he said that that shouldn't have been called, and which gave him the first down, and then allowed them to run another play, which also resulted in a penalty. So if you don't call the first one, the second one's probably not getting called, and then they either have to punt or take a shot. And I think the 49ers hold on to their lead. That being said, they did get the shot at the end there to kick with Moody, and that was pretty heartbreaking that he missed, because he's from the Cleveland area.
Oh, really?
Or Ohio. I didn't know that.
And the Gold is their usual kicker, Robbie Gold.
Yeah, and I saw a whole a tweet. His whole family was there.
Oh. That's
like
heartbreaking.
Cousins and aunts and uncles.
Dude, that's heartbreaking.
I really feel bad for that guy.
Oh man, but I mean, with the backup quarterback, the Browns managed to get a dub. PJ Walker. But here's the thing: Deebo Samuel goes down, Trent Williams goes down. By the way, is Trent Williams the goat of linemen? That's what I was told.
The goat?
Yeah.
I mean, he's good. I don't think he's the greatest of all time.
Who's your goat lineman? See, I just don't know that many linemen.
I mean, Larry Allen's up there.
Larry Allen. Who's the guy who played for the Browns? Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas has. I mean, not that he would. He's really good. I'm not taking anything away from him. His thing is the unbroken snap record. He's played like 10,000 or 11,000 snaps straight.
Wow.
That's insane.
It is insane.
And he talked a lot about that in his Hall of Fame speech. But getting back to your original question, I thought it was less surprising to see the Eagles lose than it was the 49ers, because I thought the 49ers should have won that game, and it came down to outside sources for them losing.
Yeah, I mean, the weather definitely a factor. Christian McCaffrey going out, Trent Williams going down, with that point earlier, and then Deebo Samuel as well. So I think one thing people were kind of debating how much Brock Purdy versus the Christian McCaffrey, who was more important. You see that this weekend. I mean, with the opening drive score, Christian McCaffrey actually tied John Riggins and O.J. Simpson for the second longest consecutive touchdown streak. That's 15 straight games of the tutty.
Yeah.
Fantasy football.
I saw something, it was a betting, it said if you would have bet on anytime touchdown on CMC and rolled over the winnings, now this was when he was at 11 or 12, and I think it said you would have made $80,000.
Wow.
Which is insane.
That's crazy. Now, I think one thing is that the Eagles struggles a little bit this season. The Jets took them away 3 times. It's interesting for me because the Jets are kind of a mystery. They're actually third in takeaways. Robert Saleh is 3-3. Adam, did you see Robert Saleh's statement about we played good quarterbacks and we embarrassed them all? Did you see that?
No, what was it?
So he basically, did you see this, Angelo?
I think so.
So Robert Saleh, the coach for the Jets, actually said we've kind of embarrassed all the quarterbacks. Because the thing is, they are third in takeaways. They've had multiple games with 3 turnovers. So do you think it's, Adam, that's fair for a 3-3 coach to say, even without Aaron Rodgers? What do you think?
I mean, honestly, probably not. Just because you don't see a lot of other coaches saying that stuff, really. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it being too fair.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on Saleh, Angelo?
I mean, I like it, and I like the fire that guy's bringing.
He called out Sean Payton after the whole Nathaniel Hackett thing.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't see Nick Sirianni saying that last week going in there. He was sitting at 5-0, and you're not seeing him saying, "Oh, we embarrassed everybody." I don't know. You're 3-3.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
They do have a really good defense.
I understand they did, but obviously not good enough.
Their offense is. I would say the defense has to score for them. Yeah.
I understand that they have troubles, but it is a team game at the end of the day, so I don't think that's very. I'd just be like, if you said that to me, I'd be like, buddy, look at your record.
Yeah.
that's kind of like when you're up on a team and they're talking crap. It's like, turn around and look at the scoreboard. That's
right.
Teal.
Yeah. Most of the teams like that.
Now, my next question for y'all is about the Steelers, or the Stillers, as I've heard some people pronounce them. Adam, you're a big Steelers guy. Do you feel like, this is a very winnable game against Los Angeles in Los Angeles. Do you feel like the Steelers can take it home this weekend?
I mean, being a Steelers fan and all, I'm going to say probably not. Just because.
See, that's the thing about people don't understand about Pittsburgh sports. They do everything right, and you guys, just kind of clap, and then someone does something wrong, everyone's got an opinion. But what's your opinion on what they're not doing? The thing is, they were first last week in the Penguins game. You see them fire Matt Canada. So as an offensive, how much do you feel like he makes an impact on Team Matt Canada? Is it really his fault that they've been slow at offense at times?
I mean, not entirely, just because you see everyone working as a unit. Mm-hmm. So I can't feel like I can blame one person overall.
Right.
Just knowing from personal experience.
So you don't like the chance of Fire Canada? Did you see the video where he wasn't excited when they scored?
No, I haven't.
Did you see that? It was really interesting because when they scored that they scored that touchdown against the Ravens, he wasn't jumping up. Did you see what I'm talking about, Angelo?
Yeah, I also saw something that said Kenny Pickett called a lot of audibles in the last quarter of that game.
Hmm. So is lineman, in the perspective of a lineman, do you feel like Kenny Pickett's in the right to call audible because he scored?
I mean, yeah, I obviously, I don't really have any weight in this matter, but I don't know what kind of level of trust they have in him. I don't know if Mike Tomlin gives him the go ahead. I feel like a lot of people are armchair quarterbacks.
Yeah, no pun intended, right?
Yeah, and we'll be like, oh yeah, you gotta find, you gotta call this, call that. Listen, I mean, I'm sure Matt Canada's drawing up plays that will work if you are able to execute, and it just comes down to that ability. The Steelers, in my opinion, they have a lot more problems than people want to realize, and they could do with a major overhaul, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But to just say just to put the blame on one person is kind of crazy, and I feel like it's kind of like a loser's mentality, and
I hate to say it, but I feel like Steelers fans are some of the more toxic fans in sports. Like, they expect a Super Bowl. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like, is Kenny Pickett the solution? Well, I mean, he's only had it like a couple of years. You know what I mean? Like,
hometown hero from New York. So
that's what I said on here. It's like the whole Pitt thing is like gets on my nerves a little bit because people are like, oh, he's from, like, but he's not also he's from New Jersey. Like,
that's what I mean. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's. Now, I don't like do you like the critiques of Najee Harris? People feel like making fun of him online, like saying he's not good. I think they don't use him right certain times because like, obviously Warren is a speed back, like Najee is the power back. You know what I mean? Do you think they're using Najee in the right way, or do you like Najee Harris still getting as many carries as he is?
See, I don't follow that. Like, I don't see it much, just because like I don't truly like watch it that much.
Okay. So you're more of a college football guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. We can talk about college in a sec. That's cool. We can. I want to get Angelo's power next time. We'll talk about some college football topics. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Najee's a power back. You have to use him in the right way. Yeah. So Angelo, I don't know if you wrote these down or you pull them up.
I didn't write them down, but I was looking at one.
Yeah. Okay. So I go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and read my top 5 teams. NFL teams for the week, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you after that. So I'm going to go with the 49ers that won just because they didn't have a lot of their players in that loss. It was weird conditions. I think Brock Purdy just had an off night. He's shown a lot of promise so far. 2, I'm actually going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Only 12 fourth quarter points this season, and that's a little worrisome, but they have Patrick Mahomes. They have the least points per game allowed in the league. Like, it's a really solid team, and overall, I think they deserve the 2 spot. Number 3 might shock some people, but I'm actually going to go with the Lions. Lions are 3rd in total yards per game. Jared Goff has looked very good. 4th in passing yards. And let me just say that the Buccaneers have a very solid defense, and they picked apart the Buccaneers this weekend. 4, I'm going to go the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a huge game this weekend against the Eagles. That's going to be a big Sunday night game. They have the 4-2 record, and, but those come against good teams. But I think I'm going to have to see. I'm sorry, the losses have come against good teams, but their wins haven't come against great teams. 5-24 combined record for the teams that they haven't. We'll see how good the Dolphins are this week, and then 5 will be we'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Hurts this game didn't look very good. 3 interceptions. I know a couple of them weren't really his fault, but Jet strong defense. It exposed some things for Philly. Lane Johnson goes down, which was a big injury for them. And I just want to read a couple things real quick about this game in particular. Julio Jones, who actually leads all active NFL players, just signed with the Eagles. So we'll see how much of an impact they make. Tyreek Hill with his game last Sunday set himself in a position where if he gets 99 yards this Sunday, he'll be the 5th player in NFL history to get 750 yards in the team's first 6 games. He's on a roll. And then the team you notice I did not put in the top 5 is the Buffalo Bills. Personally, I think they look really bad against the Giants. They're the 5th team since 1970 to win a primetime game after being held scoreless in the first 3 quarters, in the first since 2007 Steelers to do so. So, I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot this weekend. The Bills have a good chance to get a redeeming, solid win against the Patriots, and the like I said, the Eagles and the Dolphins have a big game as well. So that'll be a big step in the power rankings here. Angela, what's your top 5 NFL teams?
Yeah. Not to steal your thunder a little bit, but I know we talked a little earlier. Number 1 is the 49ers. Like I said, I thought that game was taken out of their control. I know they had the shot to win it late on a kick, but it shouldn't have even been down to that. I think it's hard to blame a game on reffing.
Cleveland also has a really, really good defense.
Yeah, and they're not, they're not a bad team, but I definitely like San Francisco. I like the story of Brock Purdy. I hope he does well. Rolling into number 2, I do like the Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
I think they have a high-powered, explosive offense. Tua is a very good quarterback and I don't think he gets nearly. I think he gets a lot of credit. I don't think he gets as much as he deserves. I mean, that guy he's legit. And with Tyreek Hill and Mike McDaniels, that guy's crazy. I like him. Who'd have thought that the Detroit Lions would have ever been in anybody's top 5 ever? But I do like them at number 3. I love their head coach. That guy.
Chew your kneecaps off.
Listen. I would love to play for a guy. Not that Sirianni's not a good coach. I'd love to play for a guy who had a personality like that. And I mean, if anybody knows Coach Sirianni, knows that's not his personality. That's a guy you would fall into war. 4. I like the Eagles. Speaking of the other Sirianni, he's definitely. They have a good program there. I'm hoping Lane Johnson can maybe get back towards, they're about halfway through this, getting into the middle parts of the season when they can expect him back. They just have a really good offensive line. Obviously, being an offensive lineman, you like to watch good O-line play. And we have the family connection there, so. Got to root for Uncle Nick. That's me and my dad always talk
Uncle
about.
Nick.
That's funny. And then 5, the Chiefs are up there. I think Taylor Swift's going to break Travis Kelce's heart, and it's all going to go bottoms up.
You'd be surprised how many times we talked about this on the show because those female athletes, man, it's the pop culture phenomenon.
I don't. But
we don't have to get. Yeah, if you don't want to.
I'm just making a joke. I think it's so annoying. You can't watch a Sunday game without seeing oh, here she is. Here she's doing this. Here she's doing.
I feel like he even said on his brother's podcast. It's it's getting a little
too much. Way too much.
I get it. Did you see this is probably audio. Just I kind of follow the pop culture trends and see what's going on with that. But her movie, people are standing up and throwing. It's nothing. She's
Swifties are crazy.
Yeah,
they're whacked.
Yeah, well, I've had some of them on the show, and I agree with you.
I'll leave names out, but I know a lot personally. They know they are, but no, I like the Chiefs at 5, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the expert analyzer, but I watch a little bit, and I don't. I'm not maybe as much as people think. I don't really prefer to watch NFL games. I like college more so.
Okay, we'll get to some college in a second.
But no, it's definitely an interesting top 5 this year. You got some of the returning juggernauts, the Chiefs and the Eagles, but like I said, who'd have thought the Lions were being anybody's top 5?
I agree. So that's a really interesting point. A lot of good points there. I really like the explanations behind your list as well. So. Let's get a couple of college football topics. Now, one thing that was talked about this weekend as a Notre Dame fan after the the win over USC around the field. He was paint your fingers now, Caleb. And Caleb Williams, he always paints his fingernails different patterns and stuff. This is the thing he does because of his mom. But he said F Notre Dame a couple years ago. So, with his performance this week, I know you guys are in college football, do you feel like it was fair to criticize him for saying F Notre Dame? And also, do you think this kills his Heisman chances? Adam, I'll start with you.
Honestly, I feel like it does deteriorate him a little bit. Is the best way I would put it. Just because pointing fingers, also why say it?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the pain. Just why you say it. Why?
Your guess is as good as especially for us, Coach always tells us not to post anything, not to do anything, and then there's people like that out there doing that regularly.
Yeah, now if you can back it up.
Yeah, if you can back it up, but
yeah, he had a terrible game, and they've been hot all year. You know what I mean? But to lose to a good Utah team, but I don't know. Angelo, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know. it's all part of it. People get all upset saying like, when you talk trash, it's classless. Like I don't know. I think it's not that deep. As for the Heisman, it might have an impact because now that's a different level. You're supposed to be it's kind of like the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like you're supposed to be above and beyond everything. So I get maybe on that aspect of things, but I promise you, no one at Notre Dame's losing any sleep over it.
Right. Yeah. Especially because they won.
Yeah. But even if if it's coming like a week or like. Even when if CMU would say something to me or like DM us, I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed now. Like, it's just part of the sport.
That's how you got to be. And I think, Notre Dame's had a really, really. I'm a Duke fan, so I watched the Duke game 4th and said, broke my heart. But Duke bounce back, got to win versus NC State. So we'll see. Florida State will be a big test for him. Mike Elko does a good job, but. I could talk about NC sports and UNC, but this isn't a North Carolina show, so that's just where I'm from. Titan Panthers. So UNC has looked good, though. I'll say they look good. They're in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame season, taking a loss to Louisville, barely beaten Duke. Okay, why did Notre Dame not have the right amount of people on the field in the last play versus Ohio State?
I saw the explanation.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the explanation.
I'm trying to remember. I know this was a little while ago. It was something they couldn't get the right package out there in time. I don't think it really would have mattered. I forget who they were missing. And I don't think necessarily would have had so much of an effect on the play. People don't understand. Now Division III is a little different, but I played in some hectic atmospheres, and you can't hear anything. Go try to be out there in that situation. You're not hearing everything, and it so happened that it got exposed on the last play, and that's something the coaches have to live with. But I don't know.
It's the player's perspective, which I love about this show, is because you guys take it not from. You have these analysts sit there, and don't get me wrong, analysts are really good, but these analysts come with these hot takes. Like, how could this ever happen?
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Miami lost again this week to UNC after not kneeling down the ball. Now, I asked this last week to Samuel and Duca, and I know you guys, watch a lot of football, but in sports, in total, is this the worst ever mental blunder we've seen? Not kneeling the ball down.
Yeah. I can't really.
Kirk Cousins taking a knee instead of spiking it was bad. That one.
Yeah,
J.R. Smith in the finals.
I guess I can only speak a little bit on the football. I played basketball a little bit, but there's not much like that in basketball as a football, either killing it or taking the knee. Because that's the one thing. As a defense, you're like, oh yeah, run a play, and you want them to get the chance that. Maybe they slip in the
1 in a million times.
But you can see it.
And then they score with 12 seconds. They go basically the entire length of the field in 12 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, but it happens. I saw one of the Wisconsin teams last year to get into playoffs. They were running down, and instead of killing it, the quarterback took a knee and the game was over with 8 seconds on his on the 15-yard line.
For D3 Wisconsin teams.
Yeah, and they would have had D3. But it's it happens everywhere, and that's the thing.
It's just you're probably just so in the motion that you don't probably knee it down more than spike it.
Yeah, it's just
wow.
Yeah, and I've made mistakes,
But but I feel like those mistakes are part. This is a coach's. I don't know. Adam, to you, is this the biggest blood we've ever seen in football?
Just like Angelo, I don't really watch too many other sports besides football, but with football, I do feel like I've seen worse mess-ups.
Oh, really?
I've pulled into Angelo before whenever we were both pulling.
Yeah, but that's not awesome.
But I think that's what we're trying to differentiate here is something you could think of I don't know, like baseball too. There's people who've had walk-off balks before, and there's people who have You know what I mean? Like forgot the outs or something like that.
Yeah, I guess if we're on the coach's side, that's pretty.
It's not a skill because when you guys pull into each other, like obviously that's maybe miscommunication. I don't know how that works. But this is like it's like in Madden when your buddy, it's like you're messing with them, so you're just gonna try to keep running with the score. And probably in most scenarios, he falls down and like the game's just over.
Yeah, no, that's bad. That's bad coaching.
It's hard to say it's any excuse, and you can't like.
And 2 and what? When was he did it twice, right?
He did it last year too. That's what people were saying.
So twice in 2 years. I mean, you'd be looking for jobs, looking for a new job,
right?
You know?
And I don't think it's valid. He said like, "Oh, the offense just calls plays when it's rolling through." Like, what are you just trying to get your reps in or something? Like, I don't know. If I was a Miami fan, I'd be livid. Even when offensive lineman was like, "What the f are we doing on the sideline?" But now, you know, Adam, you mentioned a little point earlier about kind of people don't like cockiness and swagger. Like Colorado,
Don't even.
they're up big time at the half. What's your thoughts, Adam, on the loss of Colorado this weekend? Your overall thoughts on the Colorado? You know, it's been a saga. It's in the news, it's mainstream. We got to talk about it on here. It's a cultural phenomenon. It's a football phenomenon. What's your thoughts on the Colorado season in this game in particular?
You're actually gonna hate. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched the game yet.
A Colorado game?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How come? Do you refuse to?
I'm just like I'm not usually one to like just put everything down and like go jump on the TV. I was probably busy during it. So
Okay.
I honestly just didn't get.
Oh yeah. Are you guys like on Twitter or anything too? Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like part of the thing being a communications major and all is like the cultural phenomenon of Deion Sanders. Like, Lil Wayne performing coming out of tunnel. You got Paul Pierce, Kawhi Leonard on the side. You know what I mean? Like, you got all.
I hate all of that.
Yeah, Bryce Harper wearing cut. Okay, Andrew's got a lot of thoughts. I'll turn it over to you.
No, I don't have a lot of thoughts. I just
you got one thought.
I just hate all the hype around. Yes, he was a tremendous football player, you know, in the pros, and his sons are great football players. I'm not taking anything away from him, and all the players that are they're great football players. But like, I haven't seen that he's such a good coach yet. I haven't seen that. He gathered a lot of talent in one spot, and it's easy to win when you have a lot of talent and you have a lot of weapons when it comes to their tougher games. It just, I don't know, and you're seeing it now. Like you're up big at halftime, and you just let someone keep chipping and chipping
against a not good team.
Yeah,
they're 1-5.
That's what I'm like. I always make the comparison. If Tom Brady went to some random school, D1 school, you pick it, that's not good. His name is going to attract all the star power alone. Who's not going to want to go transfer and play for Tom Brady, especially if you're at like a Clemson or a Georgia and you're second, third string. When you walk on you're transferred to some random school, you're probably going to start. So, I just don't like all the hype around Colorado, as in, Coach Prime, he's the greatest coach of all time. Like, he hasn't shown me that yet. And I'm not saying he can't be. For me personally, there's more to it than that,
I think my thoughts on it kind of lay here. So, this is different because I think Coach K is a great basketball coach, but what Coach K did at Duke, he coached the Olympic USA team for a long time. So, they got the shoe contract, they got the Nikes, the LeBrons, they got, when Coach K retired, they got the LeBrons and the Kobe's of the world doing the videos for, Coach K, showing clips of them talking about Coach K. And I feel like in a different sense, it's kind of like what's going on with Colorado right now. And you see so much of, particularly D1 college football right now is so much about the transfer portal, right? Travis Hunter, the number one recruit, goes to, I think this is the worst season we'll ever see from Colorado just because, like you're saying, I think maybe the definition of coach needs to change. It's not just, is a good coach X's and O's, is a good coach for recruiter. We see how many people, Bo Nix, how many different schools has he played for? A lot of these guys are just, there's a guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. UNC just granted him his eligibility again, so he's played at 4 different schools. I think it's Tez Walker, I think. But anyway, it's like the recruiting and the transfer portal is such a big part of it now. I actually don't mind it, but I think I don't mind the hype. But if you're going to be that way, you got to back it up.
Yeah.
And you can't blow that lead.
It's just to me, I mean, he hasn't, you have to earn respect in this world. And like I said, he's earned it as a player. I just don't think he's there as a coach yet. And just to be like, oh, they're going to win the national championship. They might have the talent to do it. On paper, everything looks good. But, when you get down to it and it gets down to the nitty gritty, it just...
I'm not gonna lie to you, Angela. I asked that same question. I got caught up in the hype. I feel like it's easy to get caught up in the hype. I'm sorry. I did. I said, maybe this is still possible at some point, but Nick Saban's replacement, they might look at Deion Sanders. Like I was making some bold claims. You know what I mean? But I'm not.
That's a little too rich for my taste.
At least I own up to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got caught up in the hype.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like that.
It's easy. It's easy too because you, like I said,
like Lil Wayne's out there rapping before the game. Travis Hunter's on Twitch. You know what I mean?
You want like I said with Brock Purdy, you want the story to become. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. It'll be a continuing story we will no doubt talk about. Although I would say Colorado almost did hand it to USC, but like I said, I think USC has got some weaknesses overall. But guys, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. It's been really fun. But of course, we're not done yet. Adam, it's time for the quote of the day. Why don't you bring us home?
All right. So this one, I got it before, the whole injury thing and all that. But I'm also a volunteer firefighter. Been one since I was 15.
No kidding.
So, also, I spent too much money on tattoos. But I have, a half sleeve going on. And I got this 3 years ago, coming into my freshman year. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. And it was a Bible verse by Isaiah 43:2. And for me, it had a double meaning to me, just a literal meaning, going into a burning building and all that, doing it for free, basically,
wow.
And then also, I didn't truly realize it until the injury, but I went through hell, just to come back stronger. And it phased me at the start, but in the long run, I needed that. I needed to see that I can be hurt, because like I said, I never had an injury that bad. So being able to show that I can get through that just meant a lot to me.
Wow, that's an amazing quote. Thank you so much for that. And Adam, I just want to ask you real quick. We have 5 minutes left. When did you how'd you get into volunteer firefighting?
So
what's the story there?
My dad, we've been with the same company since my dad was 15, but he was a paramedic for a neighboring township, and then he ended up becoming a firefighter. And over the years, I have 2 older brothers. The oldest one joined just to clean himself up because he did dumb stuff. And then my older brother, he always looked up to my dad with that stuff. He belongs to 2 companies now, and he's a paramedic. And then whenever it came to me turning 15, I was I don't know if this is something I want to do. Do I really want it to take up my free time? Still being in high school. And then my dad was you don't really have a choice, too bad, yada, yada, yada. But as I got into it, I was I enjoy it. Also as a junior, I wasn't allowed to do anything besides grab tools.
Okay.
But whenever I turned 18, I started to experience things, and this sounds bad, but busting down a door in a burning building is fun.
Yeah, you seem like the type of guy.
I hate saying it just because
it's badass.
It's someone's stuff getting burned, but at the same time, you're going in to help them.
Right. What's it like when you bust that building down and it's on fire? I mean, how heavy is that equipment you have to wear?
It adds easily. The air pack alone is 50 pounds.
Wow.
Plus all the gear. So you're pretty much carrying an extra 75 pounds on you.
Wow.
Just all over. And just all the training we had to go through, all the classes I had to take, seeing what I have to know and what I have to do, being able to do all that stuff. It makes me feel better as a person knowing that I'm doing that stuff to help, even if it's something as little as like a fender bender or a gas leak, just turning off the gas to make sure they don't turn on a light, making sure they're safe. Something my dad helped me realize.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that story. And guys, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I had a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun watching you guys play football, and I'm excited I get to do it a couple more times this year. So good luck this weekend in the big game up near Pittsburgh, and good luck the rest of the season. And once again, thank you for coming on.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. We'll be back next Tuesday night and Thursday night. We've got W&J Women's Basketball Preview Edition coming up. We've got a golf edition the week after that. After that, we got men's basketball and then wrestling. So a good look at all our W&J sports coming over the next few weeks. And until then, everyone have a great night. Remember to live in the present tense.